Any changes or to the minutes of our last meeting?
I wasn't there, so I couldn't make any changes.
Oh, you had the right.
Well, let's see, what do I want to mess with?
Okay,
Roll call?
so we'll change it. Oh, roll call.
Yeah.
Great, shoot. Right, okay, roll call. Tim, here,
Carol?
Charlie,
Larry's
Larry.
on.
I heard Larry,
Larry.
and we have our ex officio Counselor Smith and Robin Doty, Library Director. Bridget Sorensen is not able to make it, Donna Medica is not able to make it, and Nandu Yana is not able to come this evening.
Okay, so we reviewed the agenda. There's no additions or changes to the agenda. And we reviewed the minutes and nobody has any changes to the minutes, so we have a motion to accept.
I move
You
to
can
accept the
send it.
minutes as they
It's
stand.
the consent
Yeah,
agenda.
we can both
Oh,
consent agenda.
I second.
Second, all those in favor of accepting the consent agenda, raise your right hand.
Okay, I saw four
Four.
hands up, and the motion was moved by Carol and seconded by Ally.
Yes,
I'm just doing that for the recording purposes, so that that's a transcript now.
Good idea, yeah. Good, that's great.
okay,
Some places don't have that.
yes, sir. Next thing on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any public comment?
I do not see any public present. There's no one online, besides Larry. And no one in the room.
So the next thing is reports. The first report is the library director's report.
Yeah, and so as I said in my email, that we were, I was going to sort of go through this part pretty quickly and just, had just asked people to read ahead and have questions ready for me because our agenda, we wanted to be able to, get through the agenda, today, it's time to go out and have some fun, no. And so, did anyone have any questions about the report? And I will say, don't worry, because the consultant project is a separate item on the agenda. That is the first thing on my report, but we do have that on the agenda to go over. But if there's anything else from the report, we have a sneak peek at their new logo. I'm hoping you had a chance to see our summer reading promotional video. It is really great. It was produced by TVC TV for us for the first time. So it's very professional.
Cool.
Congratulations on your graduation
Thank you very much.
to the Northwestern Leadership Academy.
Thank you. The mayor recognized me at city council. I appreciated that.
That's nice.
That was a really wonderful program. I look forward to sharing more about it in the future, but I basically learned about all the different departments in the city or in different roles around the county and state and districts and things like that. It's really fascinating. Our statistic, sorry. So for the report itself, I kept it to one page. And
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions of Robin? Next thing is the library statistics.
Yep, so we're still seeing increases to visits and checkouts. The road construction is at least paused for now. I think more sidewalks are going in. But I don't know, I think this phase is complete.
Right.
And so 313th is completely repaved and open again, which is nice. But it didn't really impact our business like we thought it might. One thing you'll notice, we did have quite a bit more staff hours in May this year. And that's because we had a full-time person come back from a long leave. And so they were kind of in training at the same time as we were, doing all of our normal things. So that just was a little more staff time than usual for the month.
And a little less on the volunteer hours, too.
Yes, and that's also related to the same
Same.
issue because our volunteer coordinator was,
So,
Carol. We just weren't able to have her in full-time since about mid-December, and so we were doing the best we could to kind of backfill that role. I'm really excited to be able to post it soon.
Any questions on these statistics? Well, we're glad we're still on upward
Yes, we are.
projection.
Yeah.
Double-digit increase from last year, which is an outlier really among the other libraries for the most part.
Do you have statistics on what the busy hours are and
I can see that, and it fluctuates some, but there's definitely anytime we have any sort of event in the library, you can always see it reflected in that hour by hour. Our busiest day switches between usually Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. It may be, and then our busiest time is always around when kind of the courier comes, which coincides with after school time. But sometimes that schedule's off, like, because of the heat, they're delivering early. Today and tomorrow. But yes, I can pull that data. It's
I'm just
interesting.
curious what
I use it for scheduling.
I think of that.
Yes. And we can see it for all the libraries. It's interesting. I don't really look at other libraries. So I don't have to schedule for them.
Yeah.
But like some libraries are very busy on Saturdays, and that's typically our slowest day. I mean, not just because we're open, but I think people leave town on the weekend.
So we're still doing a good job as far as our checkouts and our changes. So it's,
No, Brookwood's got the walking area,
They do.
so
They're an attraction on the weekend.
it's a big attraction, probably when they're walking, and it's from the library.
Mhm. They used to have the donut shop in there too.
Oh,
all right.
that's just not even
I
fair.
know.
Very good. We're on still positive. Still somewhat the leading library in the county, which everybody's proud of. Based on the populations. So any other questions or anything on the statistics? Okay, next thing on the agenda is the finance report.
Yeah, so looking good. If we were on a typical annual budget, we'd be just finishing up the fiscal year, but because it's a biennial budget, we're just in the middle. And we're right on track, right on budget for our spending. Really don't have anything to report on the budget. That's unusual or besides what I've talked about before about how it looks like we're overspending on our bottom line, but it's just because of grant income.
Any questions on the financial report?
So grant income is not in here.
Well, it is, so we had a $20,000 grant that we got last budget cycle at the very end. So it carried over in this department fund balance at the top. part of this department fund balance is a $20,000 grant that was carried over from last budget cycle. We don't know how to illustrate that well in the budget, but we're spending it in this budget cycle. And then we did get up here, you'll see, $45,000 in grants so far this budget cycle. Wait a minute, doesn't seem right. Huh, it's a little high to me. I gotta double check.
45,000.
Oh, I know why. It's including, MAC grants that paid for our IT services. That is correct. So we've gotten a large grant to pay for IT services in the library. We've gotten a $5,000 grant for Oregon Humanities. That's another $20,000 grant from the American Library Association and Association for Rural and Small Libraries. Ready to Read grant, a Washington County Cultural Coalition grant, and I think some ARPA fund grant money might have been included in that.
So, we
Oh, no, it's not.
discontinued the checkout hotspots because of the budget reduction. Now, none of those grants are to reinstitute that. That's still
No.
discontinued at this.
It is paused at the moment, but we found out we're getting another internet provider that's coming, and I'm hoping that we can contract with them for hotspots. North Plains is getting another internet provider. Am I allowed to say who it is yet?
I don't even know anything about
Okay, maybe not.
it. I mean, we've kind of talked about,
Well, it looks like, I'm pretty sure it's okay to talk that we're getting Ziply fiber in North Plains. I think it's okay to say it.
we've talked about it. I've never.
Getting,
Ziply
oh,
fiber, so it's a competitor to Comcast and Xfinity. It is moving forward. It's not available to purchase yet, but I'm hoping that we can maybe get hotspots through them. The Comcast price, it was very expensive, and we had run out of the funds that we had allocated for it, and so I was hoping the county would step up and help with the broadband efforts, and they still may, it just hasn't materialized yet. And I'm sorry we had to pause that service, people do ask about it.
I heard you say on one grant, though, it was for internet or something.
Well, we got a grant, a MAC grant, and it is for our IT services.
Oh,
So it's the information technology services support,
okay.
not for the public, for the,
Yeah. it's
Staff in the
not- It's
building.
not, it's a different thing.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any questions on that financial report? Okay, next item on the agenda is under ongoing business is the Washington County Cooperative Library Service Funding and Governance Evaluation. Project update.
Thank you. So this is the first one-page progress report from the consultant. We had asked for a summary of the progress so far to communicate to our stakeholders. I asked for, I said, as we have this as a standing agenda item, I'd like an update every month to bring to you all and the council. It doesn't need to be a full page, but a few paragraphs of what is what has happened so far in the timeline, and so forth. All the library directors asked for communication around it, but this is a good summary of the progress so far on the project, and it just reiterates the purpose, the background of the project. And the cooperative was formed in 1976. And then a few things happened between now and then, and one of them was that the library cooperative was funded by a levy when it first was formed. And so were streets, and those were folded into a permanent tax rate with Measure 50. That and the agreement was that although those levies were now general fund, that the funding would continue for the things the voters had stipulated, which was libraries and streets and so forth, and that, but then that also that there's already then starting to be a gap between the cost of services and the amount that had been designated from that previous levy. There was already some requirement for reserves to be spent down and so forth, and then the what happened was we came full circle and we had to ask for a levy again because there wasn't enough in that amount being transferred from the general fund in Washington County to continue the services. And then more libraries were opening, like ours opened in 2006, and that is when the levy passed, the first levy. So there's just some levy history. Now the general fund of the county is even more squeezed, and part of that's due to the tax rates are restricted to 3% a year, maximum to increase. And then there's also compression, which means that if you you have a cap of how much property tax you pay. And first it goes to the general fund, and then it goes to the levies. And if you reach the cap, you don't pay the levy that you voted for. That's compression.
Oh.
And so there's a $45 million statewide that's not collected due to compression every year for different levies.
No,
And so we're impacted by that, as a levy funded. So there's just some different reasons that funding is a challenge, and we want to continue to provide the services to everyone. The general public doesn't necessarily need to know all these details. They just want their library service. They want to check out their books. We want that to happen. We don't want people to worry about it. We just are trying to figure out the best. First of all, they're evaluating what are we providing? What is every library providing? And then how much does it cost? Okay, and then they're gonna say, all right, what is a reasonable amount of library service that every household can expect to have? How much does that cost, and how can we, use the funds wisely and efficiently to make sure everyone has access to that service? So that's kind of what this project's about.
how does the, are most libraries providing the same service, or is there a discrepancy?
There's actually quite a bit of difference. There's quite a bit of differences in hours open. Some libraries have like maker spaces and some don't. Some libraries have a library of things collection, some don't. Some libraries have checkout laptops and tablets, some don't. I would say there are certain general services everybody has. Everybody has access to the digital materials. Everyone has some size of collection of physical items. Not some libraries have meeting spaces, some don't. Like we don't really have a meeting space. So there's quite a few differences, like size of facility,
So,
amount of programs.
so how does this, how do you combine and run? Okay, this is, the cooperative, or this thing is to look at the services that cooperative supplies to the library, but part of our budget is from the city general fund.
Yeah.
So are they looking at just county services provided, or how does the city separate their library from other cities? Because part of the money is from then? How does that work? I don't know if I'm being very clear here.
What you're asking, I think, what, at this point, they're just looking at like North Plains Library and what services do we provide and how much does it cost?
Okay.
It doesn't matter really the source of the money, but how much are
Okay.
we spending on library service in North Plains? And what are we providing for, like, what services do we provide and how much do they cost?
Okay,
So, they are aware of the sources of all the, libraries. They did a big information gathering phase, which you can see in the, was, they just concluded the information gathering phase portion. It's not listed here. And part of that was me providing them our budget, our strategic plan, our city's, trends in our city demographics and, funding sources for the city.
and so right now they're looking at, irregardless of funding,
Yeah,
they're looking at all the services that each library is providing and the estimated cost of each one of those services.
that's not estimated. They're
Well, I mean,
looking at how much
it's in
people
our,
are
in
spending.
our budget, yeah.
Yeah, how much,
I know the budget is there, but
right,
I imagine your estimation of what our programs are. Unless you know, you might have.
they asked for several years of budget, so they're not
Okay.
just looking at like right now.
Okay.
Not
But-
sure why they don't look at, because the library is a big chunk of our pie.
Yeah,
Compared
And
to
they,
Hillsborough,
mhm,
Cornelius might have a.
they have that information.
So
Yeah, yeah.
That makes a big difference. We spend a lot of money on the library.
Yeah, because our permanent tax rate in North Plains is quite low and we don't have any levies. This library, is about 30% of our general fund is, library. Our general fund is about, just under $1 million a year. Right?
It's-
Or so, I mean, that's property tax, so I know the general fund has a few other sources.
Okay. But then you did answer my question. You're looking-
Yeah, They're looking at all what you spend and all the services, yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry to say that Larry, despite what you asked about wanting the in-person Q&A and not a survey, there is going to be a survey, initially for at least for this first phase, since they are in a rush to, I won't say they're in a rush, they're in a time crunch to get to the point where they can decide on what the next levy rate will be, or what will be on the ballot for the levy next time. And
That
so,
is in
and that's
2025.
November 2025 is when it's scheduled to be on the ballot. So the timeline is sort of working backwards from that, and so,
I have a question. Do we know who the survey is gonna be sent to so we can ask them to actually complete it for us? In North Plains.
it will be, yes, so, it will be distributed in many ways. WCCLS themselves are gonna pay for a postcard to be sent to every household in the county. And they're also going to have a digital campaign to promote the link. Then the library locations will partner with them on rolling it out more broadly within our service areas. And it
Okay.
opens on July 15th. I did have an opportunity to provide some feedback to the draft for the questions. I made sure, and I didn't have enough I only had about a week, so I couldn't bring it to this body, but I worked on it with our interim city manager. And they did request that they include more questions that pertain to rural communities. Like North Plains has some rural areas and some other reasons for visiting the library than they had originally listed, because we have people using our library a little differently because we're so far into their services here. So I hope my input will be used, I'm not sure. But the survey is meant to determine how people are using the library. We're trying to determine how, why people visit the library, and what, if they don't visit the library, what would they be interested in using in a library? Because the survey, if you haven't visited the library in the past year, it puts you in one part of the survey, and if you do use the library, it puts you in another part of the survey. And it's trying to determine, you know, if you don't use the library, why not? Or, you know, what would you maybe be interested in? And so I will ask for your help in just encouraging everyone to fill out the survey. We really, doesn't matter if you have a library card or ever plan to visit the library. Every Washington County household, the opinion is really important. It will really shape, it'll have a part in shaping the future of library services here, because if this survey shows, you know, it'll show what people value the most in their library use, and I think the county will listen.
Okay,
So it's really, really important.
and when will these cards go out?
So the survey opens on July 15th. And so I imagine that the postcards will be scheduled to go out right around there.
So we want to.
And it's open for a
encourage
couple
friends
weeks.
and neighbors and
Yes.
families to fill them in.
Yeah, everyone in Washington County or who uses the Washington County Library. Because we have users that across county lines.
Okay,
Yeah. However, although this survey is the first widespread stakeholder engagement, when they're starting to work on the future state, the desired future state, they did say there would be in-person opportunities, like you were asking for. So to determine the current state, they are using the survey method, but to determine, when we start talking future state, there will be the in-person opportunities according to the consultant. So that was encouraging.
yeah, it is.
And
Thanks for doing that. Thanks for presenting us.
yes, I'm happy that I had something substantial to share.
Now, is the interim city manager participating in this?
Yes, Rob Drake is participating. He's a very experienced city manager. He's retired from Cornelius and actually has been very involved with library funding and levy work. You'll remember Carol, because you and Bridget attended a library levy PAC meeting when I was first a director. And Rob Drake was running that meeting. He's our interim city manager right now.
Oh,
He did it on his off time, it was on the weekend, and he's a big advocate for libraries, so that's
Anything on the county library funding and governing update? Any more questions? Okay,
I
thank you, Rob.
will have an opportunity to present a presentation to the council and board at some point. They're helping us prepare a presentation that we can give,
Okay,
and I'm happy to do that.
yeah, and we plan on this to be an ongoing agenda item.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing new, or we'll just say there's nothing new to report, but we do plan on keeping this in the forefront of our information going forward.
It's very important.
Okay, board opening,
Well, Carol, we just really appreciate your 8 years of service. Have a little card for you and a
Oh.
plant.
Went by awfully
Gift.
fast.
And
what's that?
not everyone
It
had,
went by awfully fast,
Oh, you're 8 years?
yeah.
not everyone had a chance to sign it, but it has a bouquet of seeds.
Oh.
It has a bouquet of flowers in the form of seeds attached to the
Okay.
card.
Oh,
And,
that's good. Oh, I see.
And
That's a
you
good
can
idea.
sign it.
It's very nice.
You have helped us, you helped with the levy effort, the last one that we had, and been a steadfast member of this group, and we'll miss you. I hope you stay involved and maybe on the Friends. You
Are
seem,
they still looking for a treasurer?
they did find a treasurer, but
Okay.
they do have a board position open still. It's vice chair, vice president.
We'll see.
So, sorry, everyone couldn't be here this evening, but we just want to express our appreciation. That's a
It's
big
been a
commitment.
very interesting experience.
Yeah, we thank you for.
Really nice
your 8
people.
years.
Get acquainted with a few people.
Yeah. It's a nice way to learn what's going on in your city.
Yeah. Like it or
That's
not.
where Ricky and his cohorts, when they attend,
Oh, so you're running for city council?
no. We can grill them,
Hey,
try to find out when they're gonna pave our street.
So thank you
You're
for your
welcome.
years of service.
It's been a pleasure.
Next item is, job advice in a library job.
yes, so we had, Carol's retirement, came kind of coincided with the start of summer reading, and which is our kind of our busiest time in the library. Through no fault of her own, that's just the timing that she needed for her family, and we had an immediate need for the library operations to remain fully staffed while we also staff various events and programs around town. We always really like to have a presence at all city events, if at all possible, National Night Out, ice cream social, and so forth. And so I did ask the council, and it was approved, for a seasonal library program assistant position. At just that point of need. I wouldn't normally propose something like that without talking to the library board. But it was I felt that getting some help in place quickly was in the best interest of the library, and taking a little more time to post the opening for the full-time position, making sure that we have what we need. Position hasn't been revised in about, well, since 2010 was the last revision to the volunteer coordinator position. And so I did take some time and talk to staff about what are the gaps, what do you think we should include in this position. It's still the library assistant 2 classification and pay scale, so that hasn't changed. But when you do a job announcement, you can kind of say what the job entails, what the tasks are going to be, and so forth. And so that has adjusted a little bit. And I just wanted your advice on it. because the title was library assistant two classification, but the job title was volunteer coordinator. And I'm proposing that we call it a community engagement specialist or community engagement coordinator. Because it really does involve more than volunteer coordination. I like what seemed to fit the best, and I did research on different positions and what they entail. Community engagement specialist,
I like that.
Sounds
I
good.
like that.
Specialist, yeah.
That sounds-
specialist better than
Mhm.
coordinator. Well, and the thing is, it really is someone who can specialize in that outreach and has that, because recruiting volunteers will go along with that, of course, but also making sure that everyone in North Plains knows about our services. This board has expressed that, I mean, I think some of you, when you came on, didn't know. I'd say, oh, we're doing this. I didn't know the library did that. It's like, we need to make sure people know that the library offers that. And I really have taken that to heart and been thinking about ways we could do more outreach in North Plains to make sure people know what we offer. And so, making that a focus of this position, I felt like went very well with the volunteer recruitment. We also have a need for more communications along the same lines, that public communication, getting the word out about our services, our events and so forth. And so I have a draft of the job description, and I basically have it 50% outreach and public programming, 30% public communications and grant management, 10% circulation desk, direct patron service on the desk, and about 10% training and development, and that could be training staff in certain things and receiving training also. But that's sort of based on the work I've done, the general breakdown, no job is exactly, this or that percentage. It'll fluctuate, but I want to give applicants an idea of what
Sure.
we expect they will be doing with most of their time, and this is and so I've used some other libraries' job descriptions to make sort of a list of tasks. I'll probably simplify it a little more from here, but what tools and technology you'd use on the job, knowledge, skills, and abilities. And it's just a little update, but all within that library assistant to classification.
Sounds like you're keeping the same class, expanding the role a little bit. And clearing up the being a little more specific on the duties that the person will have.
I'd say the biggest change in this is less time at that public service point on the desk. And more time interacting with the community in other ways. Because that's the biggest shift, I would say, in those changes.
So who's gonna be training this person
In community engagement,
for the whole job? Cause it sounds like there's a lot there.
oh, well, that's a good
Correct.
question. So the people that are doing it now, will definitely be a part of the training. So, we have our early literacy specialist, does a lot of outreach. Brianna, our librarian, does a lot of public communications right now. But we're also hopefully gonna have some more city support with that, which will be huge for us. I will be doing all the circulation desk training we usually do with everyone. But as far as outreach and public programming, I'll really be going over our strategic goals with this individual and making sure we're aligned with that, and we're our outreach, I really want to make sure we're focusing on different parts of the community, not always the same groups. There's people that choose to engage with us already. I really want our outreach to be able to reach people maybe who don't. We don't reach otherwise. You know, that's kind of the point, right, of outreach, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So like the ice cream social is a great example of an outreach event. We had a table there. Many people stopped by who didn't know about the library. And we were able to tell them about us. And so having someone who can represent us in a very positive way and who's familiar with the community, I think will be another thing we'll be looking for. Someone who's familiar with the North Plains community.
Okay. I didn't quite, you said there, you changed, you took away from the desk that was in the library? Or-
Oh,
I
so
didn't-
we call working, you know, the person who checks out your books and
Yeah,
we call that the desk, like when you're scheduled to work the desk,
yeah.
it is that role with
It's
that direct,
checkout,
it's that
Right.
direct customer service role there.
right.
And everyone does that, including me, and this person in this role, but some roles, that's their main community interaction is at the desk. For this particular role, that will be just a small part of the people who come into the library will only be a small part of the people they interact with. They're gonna be they'll go to chamber, probably, they'll go to the school, they'll be at the schools, they'll be out in the community parks and what.
They still will manage the volunteers too? Okay.
That's a good question. We have this role as a recruiting and onboarding volunteers specifically. But assisting with the coordination part, not in charge of the coordination part necessarily.
Okay,
The day-to-day scheduling of the volunteers and training them on specific operational tasks. I think we're gonna assign to someone part-time or spread it out among other staff,
okay,
because recruiting and doing that initial like background check, initial training, safety, ongoing training, appreciation events and things like that. This person will definitely be involved in. But the day-to-day kind of schedule and some of the training, all the staff can help with. Maybe not the scheduling, but it's not gonna be it won't be maybe it's a little bit different. A little more focused on the engagement part, not the follow
right.
up.
So
I mean-
what I'm hearing you say is this person's been focused on engaging the community a little more away from the library itself.
Yep.
Within other city organizations and city events.
Yep.
And that the other staff will sort of pick up the scheduling or the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of the volunteer program. Is that,
Yes, or they'll work together. We're small, so there's overlap.
yeah,
But say this new community engagement specialist is gonna be planning an appreciation event with another staff person or something,
Right.
like as a team.
but somebody else will do the day-to-day scheduling and someone, and looking for a substitute and things like that. That Carol used to do.
Yeah,
And those kind of responsibilities will be shared with other staff members.
they will. So we
Is that
have
correct?
a few staff already who know how to use the scheduling software.
Okay,
So because we've been doing it, while Carol's been out. And so I've talked to staff about this and, feel like,
they're comfortable.
yeah.
What, and Troy's to put out the newsletter, a weekly newsletter?
Yes,
Will we continue with that, or will that sort of slide?
we actually already changed that to just making sure the volunteers get our monthly newsletter, because the buzz. Because it really had a lot of the same information,
Okay,
but we'll send a weekly schedule still
okay.
to the volunteers that comes out from the software.
So we're looking at having the buzz, a monthly,
The buzz, it will continue to be monthly,
monthly,
but
and
it'll go to all the
it'll
volunteers.
go to all the
Yeah.
volunteers. Okay,
It just wasn't sustainable to continue the weekly newsletter. But announcements and things can go out
yeah,
as needed.
yes, okay. Any questions about the change there? Sounds good to me.
And I mean, I wanted your input also, because you know,
Sounds like you really have it covered. You
Mhm.
know?
I mean, part of our strategic plan is to reach out to the community and bring them in
yes,
and going out within the community and make sure we have a presence
yes,
as one of their main responsibilities will help us achieve our strategic plan.
that is the intention, absolutely. Whenever there's a vacancy, it's an opportunity to see how we can better define the position, better align it with the goals, etc.
How we can upgrade our overall performance as a library.
Sure.
Mhm. Okay, great. Larry, do you have any questions?
Did you hear my head shake?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
got it. Okay,
well, there's certainly a lot of interest in this position. I have people asking
really?
me, when are you gonna post it? People who've told me they're intending to apply. I think it'll be a pretty popular one, and I'll
you have
I-
any staff that's interested?
Yeah, I
okay.
believe so. And so my goal is to have this posted and announced before I leave on vacation. So my vacation starts July 1st, so I'll try to finish up the draft tomorrow. And have it to, I'll probably have to have it go to the city attorney to review, since it includes a job description.
Sure.
Just to make sure I didn't make any errors, but I based it on other libraries' job descriptions.
Did you mention something about the hours being, like, they might be unique if they're doing evening events or things like that?
Oh, I did, yeah, and it is a 40-hour job, and then I put for schedule under working conditions. Most work is performed during library open hours, including our evening and weekend hours. Some work is scheduled outside of library open hours, for example, staff training and outreach activities may be early in the morning or late in the evening. Working a varied schedule, which may change periodically as required.
Oh, you're covered.
Yeah, you're-
Okay. That's just
Okay,
the nature of the work.
very good. Any topics you would like to have on next month's agenda? Okay, we move on there. Friends of the Library update.
I think I'm the best person to provide that. Since I attended their annual membership meeting. Wait, Larry, you were there?
Yeah, but you don't want me doing it. We'll be here
Sure.
all night. Yeah, we'll be here all night. All I can
Do you want
say
to say
is,
the good news about the budget?
all I want to say is they are a great team. They have really admirable and aggressive goals, and they're meeting their goals. And the word $1 billion was mentioned.
Yes.
So I know they're on the right track. If that's their target, they're doing everything they can to kind of move the library, the Friends forward and bring more money in very innovative and exciting ways. So I'll let Robin complete the rest of the story.
Well, I attended their board meeting in Frankfurt,
Oh, thank you.
and it was, yeah, very, pretty exciting. You know, the things they're, new things they're creating and their financial success so far. So it was good.
And I will just say that they did approve adopting their budget for next fiscal year. And it includes support of our library collection. So because of the Friends funds, we can purchase 25% more library materials for checkout.
Good.
And they provide us programming funding so we can have a higher caliber of instructors and performers and things like that. And then for the first time this year, there's a $2,000 scholarship for staff professional development. So if staff want to attend a conference or something, they could apply and the Friends would pay for it.
Nice.
And I was
Good
very
idea.
excited that was approved as part of the budget.
Larry, are you on the Friends, or were you attending, representing us?
Representing us.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it was eye-opening, and I urge any of the other board members, if you get a chance, you know, when your name comes up, to attend, because it's a great group. They are very, they've got our back. I couldn't ask for a better team to support us. They're awesome.
And they did table at the ice cream social, 3 or 4 of them, and that was really wonderful.
Okay. You are now, sir.
Since we're talking about ice cream socials. National Night Out will be a week earlier this year, because it would conflict with the Garlic Festival for dinner, like on Thursday night. That's when everything's being set up, so it'll be a week earlier, so that's a good opportunity. And I was just thinking that great opportunity, it's something you can ask the people to do, is it Sunset Ridge 1 and 2, the HOA barbecue.
Oh, when is that?
It's a tentative at 7/21.
Okay, because National Night Out is August 1st. And then, okay,
Yeah,
7/21 tentative.
When I was there last year, I was just amazed at how many kids were there. Now, in my days, the lights go out, you go home. Now I do walks and you'll see all these kids, but when they're there, this would be,
Was this at the barbecue? Where was this?
yeah, last year.
Yeah, that neighborhood is. You know, I always tell my wife, it's like going back to our child, kids out on the street,
It's a really nice.
playing
area.
around, you know, visiting,
Oh,
going,
nice.
playing hide and seek, riding bikes, over at the schoolyard, playing sports, I mean. it's-
Oh, yeah, I went by there
it's,
today, and they're
It's really.
playing soccer and stuff.
Yeah.
But this would be a good connect,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you know Sandy Reeser that much.
Yep, a little bit.
She's the one from,
Yeah,
she's very active over there.
it's great. Yeah, I was there today myself in Sunset Ridge, looking at our library outpost, which has bad water damage. I
Oh.
was I took some pictures because I'm trying to get it fixed, so. It's been out of order for a while, I'm sorry.
Hopefully that Burnhill will be having one of these pretty soon too,
Oh, the barbecue?
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
Who knows when they're gonna get, starting probably next year, so much, but I think the outreach to Sunset Ridge
Mhm.
is the big one to be going.
I love the idea and not as, really having a presence in that part of town, the little offshoot. is
I can't see
important.
them not wanting, those and that have nothing to do with politics or anything like that.
No,
So no, I'm
it's
just saying,
just including
it's
everybody,
just the library, and
right?
I think that's, well, I know it's not gonna be about politics. we had something political there, that'd be a different story.
I look for them.
But I think it's got a camera on it.
Looks like he's having some issues. Dear. Thank you.
Thanks.
So let's.
Wearing a wire.
It's flying around still. But then everybody knows we passed resolution 2272. The library summer staff,
Yeah,
and that was unanimous, of course.
thank you. That was the seasonal position I mentioned to get us through. Thank you we appreciate it. I was so tired when you were asking the questions, it was like 9 o'clock. Sorry, but it is a fiscally sound approach.
Because you were on the agenda late.
I was. If we brought someone on and we needed to do all the training to work on the desk, summer would already be over. Basically, so this is kind of a cost-effective way to.
And the other
support,
thing is,
programs.
this is 2 weeks ago, the Ride Connection was at our meeting, and they're talking about doing a new stop at 313th Avenue or on North Avenue. So they're gonna seem like putting extra stops here and there in, so. Too sure exactly what's gonna happen. It sounded like they were gonna do it pretty soon.
They talked about it at their ice cream social table too.
I was sick. I didn't get there.
Oh.
Well, I just got back from Europe and I'm. You know, sometimes after, and you'll probably feel that too. I'm getting older. It caught up with me,
Takes a toll.
It
but my
does.
wife was definitely there,
Oh, yes.
so,
That's okay.
don't know if there's anything else unless you got a question to ask. Because there's some things I just can't talk about.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we wanna hear.
I have a, Robin, this
Yes.
is Larry, I have a question, kind of, sort of. Let me know if
Okay.
I'm out of line in asking it. But remember we were talking about the message board at,
Sunset Ridge?
Sunset Ridge. Are we planning a similar one over here, in Burnhill?
You know, that hasn't come up.
Because I
But-
mean, they're like about halfway, done with the houses here. I mean, still got, plenty of stuff to go, but I know there's a lot of kids running around with, not much to do, and I would really like them to know about the library.
Absolutely, we definitely have library users from that area, our board member Nandu is over there, which is really nice, to have that representation from the newer neighborhood. I haven't heard a bulletin board mentioned yet, but when we researched that Sunset Ridge one, it sounded like the initial intention was to connect the Sunset Ridge neighborhood with the rest of the city, having it being a little further. So I think it could be a possibility. It'd be nice to have something we could update remotely. Like a reader, almost like a reader board type thing. Wonder if they make outdoor ones of those yet.
Well, I worked with Will on putting that in before you were here.
You worked with Will on it?
Yes, and so it's in the location because we decided that was the best. It was put in, somebody just put it in at the wrong area, and it was down a street side, and
I found in the budget where the library purchased it, and,
so then we moved it over to Sunset Ridge Circle Park. And Taylor Homes didn't care for it being there. I just told them, just wait it out and they'll be gone. And so we're able to keep it there now,
okay.
because it is a Sunset Ridge Park.
Mhm.
The other park is North Plains Park, but it hasn't been turned over to us yet. But the big question was asked to me was that Sunset Ridge wanted to use half of that board. And I talked to Andy about it, and he didn't care for the idea at all, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, did come up. And so I was trying to do some research about the background of the bulletin board. And I couldn't find it. I was hoping maybe that if there was some sort of agreement about sharing it, that the HOA had a record of it. Because it's a little tricky if it's been only city information for this
Right.
long. If we had other information on it, people might assume it was from the city.
Correct.
Because, and so that was the concern that I had with it, but I certainly wouldn't want to not be upholding an agreement. I
Is
just
it
was trying
over
to,
there now?
Mhm.
Where is it?
On Circle Park. Now, this was put in before really phase 2 was even partly just getting started.
The
Mhm.
Is when we
Circle
moved them.
Park?
It's one of the park names in the
Yeah,
Sunset
the
Ridge
one that
neighborhood.
goes around.
Circle Park.
The circle,
That's what we.
that's the one way.
They were trying to name it, and I
Yeah,
said,
the
don't
one-way
try to
around.
name it, because everybody calls it,
It's gonna be cold.
it's already
I've
called Circle
seen it.
Park.
I won't. I'll have to look.
Um,
Can
So-
you change it from here?
no, it's paper. It's a regular bulletin board.
Oh, okay, it's not a.
No,
no.
and that has been a challenge without a volunteer coordinator.
And see, there was no agreement with the HOA when we put that in. You're looking for that.
Oh, okay, that's kind of what we were trying to figure out is if, because when someone came and asked for the key, it was that had been promised and to share it, and I was just trying to find some record of that because it wasn't, I didn't know.
Yeah, because when it first went in, they put it on Main Street, and it was just a bad location. And phase 1 said, we'd rather see it somewhere else. And so that's when me and Will got together
Okay.
and figured out where to put it at. And I think everybody loves where it's at now.
Yeah.
And it was,
Okay, well, again, I'm all for the neighborhood having a bulletin board. This one in particular was purchased with library funds. And is maintained by the city, so I'm not sure. We didn't think it was a good idea to share it just because of public perception of knowing where the information's coming from.
I mean, they could put their own board up. Because that's their part.
Sure,
So I mean, that would be my suggestion, because I was asked by some, and that's when I got ahold of it. But you
okay,
did
well,
say
thank
that-
you for helping bring some more context to it, I didn't want to be difficult, I wanna, just, do the right thing, use it as intended, if it was purchased with tax money and it's city property, then we shouldn't be having other, organizations post in it.
But if you got a hold of the HOA over there, president or something like it, they could bring it up if they want a board over there or not, at one of their parks.
It wouldn't have anything to do with me,
No, but if we
oh,
put one over there, get approval from them to put it in unless it's,
at Bryn Hill,
yeah. but-
oh, yes,
And as long as it's not, I don't think any of those parks over there are city parks. They're all real parks.
that's how it is initially with developments, they have to. Maintain the parks for a certain amount of time and then they revert to city ownership.
Some do,
Pardon?
some don't.
Oh, some, okay. Some do, some don't. Sunset Ridge ones though are reverting to city ownership soon, right?
The bigger ones.
The bigger one,
The other one is supposed to, is Sunset Ridge Park,
it's gonna stay at Sunset Ridge.
correct? Unless
The
I,
Circle Park will remain Sunset,
correct,
and the big one at the end will become city.
correct. There's also a little park in Sunset Ridge, which is a postage stamp size. Now,
Uh-huh,
that's.
Right by the
Sunset-
wetlands, right?
Yeah, that's a Sunset Ridge Park too. And I think all these in going Burn Hill are all gonna be,
Bryn Hill.
saves us money.
Anyway, I just
Well,
brought it up as a point of
the,
discussion for some future meeting.
Okay,
Not
I'll
necessarily.
make a note of that. Thank you for, and I'm glad we got a little more information about it. Hadn't heard back So, okay.
Anything else for the good of the order? Thank you.
I will be out of town July 1st through 12th, in Japan.
Oh,
My husband and oldest left at 5 a.m. this morning to go for a student trip, and I'm joining them with the other two kids at the end of it.
So how long was that flight?
nice.
They left San Francisco at 10:55 a.m. and are arriving what would be 10 p.m. our time, so about 11 hours from San Francisco.
That's not bad.
And it's 2 p.m. tomorrow there, so they time travel.
Oh.
Or they're time
I
traveling
had
right now.
11-hour flight from Athens to New York, plus the extra 5
But
hours.
that, and then next week I am in at a conference, Monday through Wednesday. I got a first time attendee scholarship to attend the Oregon City Managers Conference in Hood River.
Oh,
With all expenses paid except for driving. So I'm very excited to be doing that, but I'll still be working, just as I am on the laptop. So that's the only other announcement.
yeah, when you come back from Japan, you get a free day. You can do
Yeah.
whatever you
No.
want to do, and then
You'll
Yeah,
travel back
right,
in time.
right. I travel back in time.
you travel back in time, so whatever occurs during that period of time, you can deny it because you.
Okay.
say this is
Thank you,
what-
Tim.
Uh,
We should adjourn before we continue this conversation. No. But as the chair, or
We're
we're,
scheduled for July 17th.
Is it at 6 p.m.?
It's
It is.
6 p.m. Wednesday.
I'm sorry that keeps happening. I think,
Okay.
it just, it is 6 p.m. And if this space is working out okay for you, it's nice to,
I think, it's,
it's worth it.
do we talk about, officers next time?
Oh, right, so you were nominated for chair again, and you can, oh, did you already adjourn? We'll just talk about it next time.
Oh, no, I haven't really.
I don't know that we did.
You haven't really adjourned? Okay, well, Tim was nominated to be chair again, and that was the only nomination I received. I think, so we don't have any applicants yet for our vacancy. Otherwise, I would have invited them this evening.
So we'll see.
Hopefully next month we'll have someone.
Okay, so we're adjourning Carol's last meeting.
Oh,
Okay, we're adjourned. I think we're going to Melly's
that's fine.
if,
Yeah,
if Carol's agreeable.
yeah, I'm fine. I
So
don't-
Larry, feel free to
As
join
long
us
as they have air conditioning.
if you'd like.
And that's the place over here next to the yogurt shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
How's that business doing? I was there for the grand opening, but.
I was,
I haven't been back.
I was there for the grand opening.